and it was when I was 21 years old. It's called Don't Let the World See Your Scars. I was 21 years old, the snow was falling hard, out with the loser boyfriend hanging at the bar. He'd had way too much to drink. I'll be the one who should drive, or so I think. Down the road, I pulled into a parking lot. His anger and yelling at me got too heated, too hot. So I threw his keys and I started to walk away where I was going. Honestly, I couldn't say. So much snow and more still coming down. It was 2 in the morning, dark. So dark in Swansea now. I could barely find the breakdown lane on Route 6. When a car came flying by, almost hit me but missed. If I was cold, I don't remember. The car scared me half to death. I was so done with my life, this shit deal. I took a deep breath. I hurried across Route 6 to the side road. No one was driving there in the storm as it snowed. I could have walked to my father's house, but we hadn't talked in a year. We were on the outs. My night was bad enough. I could only handle so much. He'd said some awful things when he was mad, so I stayed out of touch. I doubled my trip on foot and crossed Route 6 again, heading to the boyfriend's brother's house, hoping he would let me in. No idea how long it took, but I made it to Smoke Rise. Half asleep, he opened the door, and my overdue tears poured from my eyes. Now crying uncontrollably, I called my mom. She was wide awake. Didn't take her long to get back in her car and head my way. That night I stayed at her place with my sister and my stepdad, a place I left at 17 because he was always saying I was bad. I don't think I slept, but I laid down in a warm bed, trying desperately to sort out my circumstances of my life in my head, you know? It didn't even come close to being the worst night so far, but something about bullshit and near death makes you want to raise the bar. The next day, my mom, she drove me back to my apartment, a place I shared with a loser boyfriend just to split the rent. The night before, he'd been too drunk to find those car keys. He called my cousin Eddie for a ride at 2 a.m. in 20 degrees. You'd think they would have come looking for me, or at least thank me for not letting him wrap the car around a tree. But I take my lessons in stride and I learned my way. I broke up with that Mike, kicked him out of the apartment where I stayed. The story continues even after the snowstorm was done. I realize there are just some things that will take more time to outrun. I love her dearly, I really do. It was my mom driving home that night from an affair she was having in a car going too fast that almost took my life. I'm done drowning in this mess and everyone else's bullshit. A better life is mine to make. I owe it to myself to never quit until I get to someplace better than where I am and where I've been so far. So I studied harder at school, worked twice as long, and I don't let the world see my scars.